Hi, everyone. Let's get started. You're welcome from any part of the world you're joining about this time. This is going to be our wrap-up edition of the Five Factor Formula webinar series. And I'm excited because today, as we wrap up, we're going to have a great time. Um, we began the journey, and I think it's important for us to recognize that this is the final moment, webinar series, an end to the series, but the beginning for you as you transition your career from whatever it is right now to where you desire. I always say, everybody, that you own your own career. No one can decide how far you want to go. You decide how you want to go. And the Five Factor Formula, the book, again, strongly recommended for every one of us. Ensure you get a copy. We have an audio version. We have ebooks on Amazon's, on Barnes and Nobles, and major outlets right out there. And I believe strongly that this is not just a book. This is a blueprint to transform your career. I strongly recommend for everyone. Please share that with your friends as well. So today we'll be exploring gratitude, the fifth factor of the five factor formula. I call it the engine of sustained career transformation. So after you've gone through the motion, again, this is supposed to be a toast to your career because after you get to this point in your career, it's a different level. This is where you begin to build legacy. This is where you begin to cruise, and your career is on a trajectory where you recognize that where you are is just a phase, and you have to give back. And that's, in fact, the motivation for writing the book for me was about gratitude for what the journey has looked like before getting there and how we got to where we are. And so today, I'd like you to, wherever you are, just take a deep breath. We're closing strong today. And I'd like you to recognize that the difference between those who have plateaued in their career and those who are striving, who are ascending on a continuous basis, is what we're about to explore today, gratitude. Fundamentally shift your perception, your challenges away from challenges, and begin to show you a picture of what is to come and how making a difference or making an impact. It becomes a turning point in your career. So just to recap, we went through the entire five full factor formula from the first webinar series. We explored awareness and mindset, and then in the last one, we delved into preparation and execution. And of course, today we are zeroing in on gratitude, awareness, understanding your true starting point, your strengths, your blind spots. That's what's happened when you are aware. Awareness helps you to appreciate where you are and then decide what do I want to do with this. Mindset talk about building resilience, understanding, who you are, your identity, as it were, your emotional intelligence, and now you're aware. Now you are looking at your own fabric. What is your makeup? And your mind is critical to whatever you want to achieve in life. And then, of course, we went after understanding this foundational element. We went to preparation. We talked about how do you want to do, crafting your what I call your personal brand in a compelling narrative. How does that look like? What do you want? What do you want to project out? How do you organize your resume and do all of those nice and prep for interview and all of those things? How do you want to put your house in order, your LinkedIn profile, and all the elements? For if anyone missed those sessions, please go back to those sessions and really watch them because there's power in going back over and over again because that's where you begin to draw the substance and get inspired to take steps. And then, of course, execution that is now not just taking steps, but strategic steps, not just throwing your resume all over the place, but strategically understanding that, look, I'm not for everywhere. And then be selective, be more intentional, be more deliberate about your approach. And then, of course, the marketplace will open doors for you when you approach it in a more strategic way, not just spraying your resume all over the place, but being targeted in your approach. And of course, today we're zeroing in, like I said, in gratitude. I call it the factor, the multiply effect that sustains momentum and accelerates your growth. So that's what we will be looking at today. That's our focus, the factor that transforms everything you've built and then transition you from just being successful into significant. And that's really where we're going to be focusing on today. So the journey so far, we talked about awareness, like I mentioned earlier, preparation, mindset, awareness, mindset, preparation, execution, and then gratitude. And that's the roadmap. This is the five factor formula. If anybody asks you, what does that look like? This is the five stones. I call it the stone, the metaphor that I use here in the book. If you read the book, you get a little more context. Is where we are talked about the five stones that David had to slay the giant called Goliath. So Goliath is your corporate wall, the wall you're trying, the giant that is intimidating you, but you have the five stones to be able to address this fundament, this giant. David used one stone. You probably will use two, use one. Whatever your journey is, one of these stones that is relevant to bring down your giant. And I've gone through this motion myself, and I recognize that these are fundamentals that everyone needs to be aware of and exercise and apply, because the truth here is in the details. And everyone, based on your journey, each one, some people are not aware of what's going on in the industry. Some people are aware, some people have the wrong mindset. Some people are not even prepared for what they're looking for, which is very sad. I can tell you that a lot of people want great things, but the question that they're ready for that great thing they're looking forward to. And that's the difference. And of course, execution. You can know so much, but if you don't put it to work, it ends up in nothing. And that's really where some people falter. Some people put in effort when they are desperate, and then, and then they're not ramping up in a way that will yield the results. Some of them get tired, by the way. So that's why you have to be very strategic in your execution. You have to recognize that it's not just anyhow. There are fundamentals. One of the ways to learn is to come to a seminar, a webinar like this, to learn the fundamentals of what you need to do. And then you get inspired, and then I can guarantee you that once you understand these fundamentals, everything changes around you, and then you are on a trajectory ascending your career. That's what happened to me when I changed from my own country and moved into the States, and then everything was looking like I'm starting over again. No, all I need was to reorient myself and set myself on the trajectory, and that's why this book is a fundamental recommendation, a very great recommendation for anyone who has particularly changed from their own country into a different environment, particularly the Western economies, the Canada, the US, the Europe, and you want to be able to excel. This is a strong recommendation. This is a five-factor formula at a glance, and I strongly recommend that you check it out and recommend to your friends as well. Now, why many professionals still get stuck? This is, speaking to a lot of people, you will see that a lot of people are actually struggling in their career. You ask them what's going on in their career, and then you see all kind of tales. Because it's one thing to get a job, it's another thing to excel in that job. It's another thing to thrive in that job. It's another thing to enjoy what I call momentum, the flow. And why are people level? So let's explore a couple of these fundamentals. Number one, talent isn't a problem for many people. It's alignment. A lot of people struggle to align. A lot of people are doing, particularly sometimes they're working on careers that are not exactly what they want to do. They find someone want to transition to a different industry, and they find it difficult to do that. And so what this does is to remind you of some of the things to focus on and some of the things to de-emphasize, if you like. So high credentials, what I call career clarity. A lot of people have impressive degrees, certifications. It doesn't necessarily mean that will translate to career success. You may have all the certifications, however, people have multiple master's degrees, multiple certifications, and yet they're still struggling. Why is that? A lot of people like effort, they work harder, they put in all the works, but there's a disconnection somewhere along the line from your progress and the wins along the way. So they measure the input, the energy, and the drive they put in, and the result they're seeing it's not commensurate. So they're like, what's going on here? A lot of people have high ambition. Wanting more isn't enough. You want more, but that doesn't necessarily translate. So, because it's a perspective that keeps you going, and that's one of the things that I want to be able to explore here today. Gratitude is what changes your internal posture, reducing pressure while increasing your clarity. It shifts you from striving to thriving. Let me say that again. It shifts you from striving to thriving, from chasing to attracting. It's a different ballgame when you get to this phase of your career, gratitude. I'm going to explore that in a moment. So let's introduce the fifth factor called gratitude. The power you didn't know you needed. Let's reframe it. When you have rejection, how do you view rejection? A lot of people tell me when they see this email or see the response, no call, they just feel discouraged. I beg to differ. When you are grateful for where you are, that you're even able to apply, you're even getting responses, it shows that's progress. It's all a matter of perspective. It's all a matter of perspective. So during transition, gratitude grounds you, preventing anxiety, spirals, and keeping you focused on progress rather than perfection. So a lot of people don't recognize the fact that as a transition, every time you apply for a job, there are thousands of people looking for the same job. So you have to recognize that fact. So if you're getting an interview, it's progress. That you got an interview, that you're even rejected, it's still progress, depending on how you see it. Because for every interview, it means that you're getting closer. One thing that happens is that you learn something from this interview. And that happened to me. I can tell you a couple of stories when I first came in. And the first interview, I thought I was saying the right things, but I wasn't getting the right responses. But instead of giving up, I said, well, what can I learn from that? So the question you ask, the quality of the question you ask yourself defines the quality of the responses or how you prepare for the next opportunity. So as I went from different interviews, I began to get more confident, even though I was being rejected at some point, but I was going all over again. Why? Because I knew that I have to keep going. I have to keep making progress. So during those moments, instead of focusing on rejection, I'm focusing on progress. Now, leaders who practice gratitude exude confidence without arrogance, creating magnetic professional personas that attract opportunities. One thing I've seen is that when you're grateful for where you are today, you attract more opportunities. There's something about gratitude that changes your perspective about what is going on around you because you're not focused on negative, you're focused on positive. I begin to see every rejection as getting closer to the oil mark. After all, they say that every no that you receive today, it's a roadmap to getting a yes. And that yes, when it comes, becomes sweet. But if you keep getting no and you give up, then no becomes the ultimate. But if you keep pushing as you get no from your gratitude perspective, everything changes. And one thing I've seen is that one of the things that I recognize is that if you focus on gratitude for every opportunity you get and you're grateful for it, guess what happens? The door begins to open. Your attitude, your dispositions. I go for interview even when I think that I'm not quite sure what it's going to look like, smiling. Why? Because I recognize that every interview takes me a step further. Because that's the next thing to do. After the interview, what happens? I get an offer. And so that means I'm closer to the mark. And if you look at it from that point of view, you see that you're closer to where you are going than farther away. There are times when there were no responses. There were times when it was all dead silence. There were times where you got an email that saying, oh, they moved on to a different candidate. And there are times you got an interview. And so it's a journey. And each journey, once you understand the value chain, the entire roadmap, you understand that each journey takes you closer to where you are going. What gratitude isn't, I think it's important to recognize what is gratitude and what gratitude is not, because this is very clear. We need to make a very clear distinction. So what is gratitude? I have three high points here. Gratitude is a mindset of awareness, consciously recognizing progress, resources, and support systems that propel you forward in your career journey. You're not alone, recognize that. That's why we are on this seminar. Your being here is a part of the whole entire journey to build you, to remind you of who you are, and to continue to let you know that, hey, we're cheering you on. That recognizing the fact that you have a system like this that enables you is something worth being grateful for. It's a filter that reduces anxiety, a lens that helps you process uncertainty and change without spiraling into a fear or self-doubt during transitions. Sometimes this journey you can go alone. So when you have people coming alongside you, like we do here, it kind of allays your fear, removes anxiety and gives you the right perspective that, hey, you're on your journey. And everybody have passed through this phase at different times in their career, in their life, and you are not alone. And that's acknowledgement that the fact that you're not alone is enough to propel your to be grateful for and push you forward in your career. Remember that, hey, I'm not alone. And that's one of the things that sometimes make people afraid or anxious because they think they're alone. But I'm telling you now that you're not alone. You're on this journey, you belong to this community. We are on a journey for career transformation. We're on the journey to build legacies in our careers and to impact lives. And that's what we're doing today. A posture that builds confidence. Gratitude is a posture that builds confidence, an internal stand that acknowledges your what, whilst also remaining open to growth and new opportunities. One thing about gratitude is that you keep learning. You're open to learning. You're open to new opportunities. Why? Because you're grateful for where you are, recognizing that each opportunity that opens takes you closer to the career pinnacle or the height you're looking forward to. And so this is an element of gratitude. Gratitude, what it is not, pretending challenges don't exist. Now, gratitude doesn't mean that there are no challenges. It doesn't mean that we're ignoring real obstacles or difficulties that you are facing. Some people say discrimination, some people say, oh, rejection, all kind of things. It doesn't mean that those things don't happen, but it means facing them with a perspective. Your perspective is different. If I see someone, if a company rejects me, for example, I take that in good stride. I say, hey, man, maybe I'm not meant for this place. Mine is coming, and that is the perspective. I didn't get it overnight. I got there because of recognizing that, look, sometimes not every door that opens is your door. Sometimes not every place you apply to is where you want to be, because there are a lot of things that you need to see on the other side that you're not seeing right now. The culture. Are you good? Does it work for you? Is that where you want to build your career upon? You don't know what's going to happen there. Sometimes those no's is saving you a lot of stress, a lot of trouble in future. And so we're not saying that there are no challenges in these places, but we're recognizing the fact that this is a phase, and we're approaching it with every sense of diligence. And then, of course, gratitude is not losing your ambition. Being grateful doesn't mean settling for less or abandoning your goals. It means pursuing them from a healthier foundation. And that's very important. Gratitude is shifting your perspective from what is not working to what is working. And that is a fundamental that every one of us needs to recognize. And so if you are watching this from any part of the world, recognize that where you are is a phase, is a season. And one of the things that I've always reminded everyone is that our career is a journey. So gratitude doesn't mean pretending there are no issues or no challenges in your career, but recognizing that your perspective changes when you see things from a different point of view. So rejections or anything of sort, it's part of the game. You see it as part of the game and you keep moving. So, and then of course, ignoring problem. Gratitude isn't toxic positivity. It's the ability to hold both your appreciation of where you are today and the awareness that you need to make improvements. So when you have rejections or you apply for a job and you're not given the opportunity, take it a good stride. Maybe ask yourself, what do I need to do differently next time? And that's exactly why this is a very important conversation. Being grateful for where you are today, it changes your entire perspective. So gratitude is not saying that this thing doesn't exist, but it's your perspective toward those things that make a difference. Now let's look at the three dimensions of career gratitudes that we may explore today. Number one is gratitude for the journey. So we have to recognize that we are on a journey. Career is a phase, it's a season of our life. And we need to recognize that we have to keep the big picture in perspective. That's one of the things that I've done so well. And so that's why when there are challenges or at any point in time in my career, I'm just fine, recognizing that it's a journey. So that helps you to build resilience in long term, and it changes the way you see things. Appreciating how far you've come, the skills you've developed, the challenges. Sometimes we focus on the challenges. We're not recognizing that we are growing, meaning that where we were a couple of years back and where we are today, there's a growth trajectory already. And once you see it from that point of view, it builds your confidence. It creates what I call emotional stamina for the road ahead of you. Resilience is built because when you look at the bigger picture, it's different. It's not like, oh, I'm alone. It's not like, oh, it's not working. No, it's working. Maybe some things need to improve. And that is the perspective I want everybody to recognize that in their career, there will be these roadblocks. There'll be obstacles, different barriers, the people that will not see things from our point of view. But we have to have the bigger picture, recognizing that, hey, I've come thus far. I'm not coming here to crash. I'm not coming here to fail. I'm coming here on a journey to success. And whatever happens on the way, there's always a way out. And by the way, I've not come here by myself. I've built skills, I've built capacity over the years, and I'm still on a journey. That's one perspective. Number two, gratitude for the people that have come alongside you. Now, we are not alone. What we are doing here, building a community of many people who are on a journey to career transformations. That's a community you belong to. It's worth being grateful for. The strengths, the relationship that you have, the networking opportunity, people that have come alongside you, it could be your mentors, it could be your colleagues, it could be people that are coming alongside you to help you as well. As you're helping each other, recommending books, workshops, you're attending together, people come alongside you as you build careers. That's why one of the things that people need to recognize, be reminded of is that in career development, you need people. It's not something you do alone. So you have to have colleagues or friends, and that's one of the beauty of having been on the LinkedIn profile. I mean, LinkedIn platform. What it does, you build a connection of people who are learning alongside you, are sharing thoughts with you, and these are some things that you need to be grateful for. A support system that we have here on our platform where people share ideas, share concepts, we learn together as a team, learn together as a community, and that's opened doors to referrals, which in my opinion, is one of the strongest, way to open doors in your careers. Sometimes it's not what you know, it's people that who have come alongside, who have known you, who have met you, can recommend you for opportunities. And that's why you have to be grateful for people that are in your life, who are working alongside you, your support systems, and all of that. And of course, the third perspective we're going to explore today is gratitude for opportunities. Now, I'm always very grateful for people who have opened doors for me at different levels of my career, either from my first job to when I change jobs. There are people who are God has used at different levels to open doors for you. You have to be grateful for those things. Seeing possibilities in unexpected places, lateral moves. I mean, if you have left your home country to a different environment and you see people who have come alongside you, not everybody will do that, of course, we do know that, but some do. And for those who have done that for you, who have opened doors for you, who have referred you, who have sent you endorsement, you need to take a moment. And what a joy we are in the season of Thanksgiving, where we recognize that, look, we didn't get here by ourselves. So this uncovers pathway. It's like an investment to a greater future because those you appreciate today are those that are eager and open to refer you for opportunities when it comes. Because somebody said we are 4 people away from what we're looking forward to in life. So people will refer you. So you got to build right relationships and recognize as an investment that will yield along the way as you build your career. So these 3 dimensions work together, creating a comprehensive gratitude practice that transforms how you approach every aspect of your career development. Gratitude for the journey, gratitude for the people that God has brought your way in the course of your career and will still bring, because as long as you're in that career, there's always a face. It's a face in your life. And of course, gratitude for the opportunities that have come your way. You have to be grateful for all of these opportunities that have come your way. So as we begin to wrap up, let's look at, for example, what the gratitude brings. For example, I'm using the US job market, and this applies to any industry, either in Canada or anywhere for that matter. For those of you who will be watching from any part of the world where this recording will be shared, it's a competitive advantage. What does that mean, for example? Now, gratitude influences communication tone. Now, the way you are grateful for where you are, it shows differently in the way you speak. Now, someone who is complaining, who is very toxic, if you check them, they are coming from the place of entitlement. Gratitude is the opposite of it. Gratitude shapes how you write emails, how you conduct interviews, how you show up for interview, for example, how you follow up in creating what I call a memorable impressions that hiring managers want to see. I mean, I tell people that when we interview for roles, for example, sometimes we just take about 5, 6 seconds to know is this person, the impression, your countenance, and it shows because you are grateful for where you are today. A lot of people come in here tensed up, anxious, and all of that. No, if you have this perspective, it changes the way. I remember when one of the things that happened to me was after a while when I recognized that the opportunities that there was a time I wasn't getting interviews. Now I'm getting interviews. Now I knew that something has shifted for me. Now I've gone from being invisible to someone now they can now invite for interview. That's what's being grateful for. And when I got 1 or 2 interviews correct, my confidence level built up. I became grateful for what I've learned. And when I show for interview, you just want to select me. You just want, at the time I have about 3 jobs in offers. Why? My perspective changed. It shows in my countenance. My face was shining every time I show up. Why? I'm grateful for where I'm at and all of that. Now, number 2, gratitude reflects emotional intelligence. When you have a attitude of gratitude, it just places you in a different level. Employers increasingly value those who have what I call emotional quotient alongside technical skills. You have technical skills, which a lot of people have, but emotional quotient, right, or what I call emotional intelligence quotient, it's a different ballgame. The way you respond, the way you shake hands, it's just different. It places you at a level that people can recognize that, man, this is different. Gratitude signals self-awareness and what I call interpersonal sophistication. It just shows in the way you do what you do. There's some people that you meet and you see them carrying themselves with so much grace, and you're wondering, oh my goodness, I wish I can be like this. That's what I'm talking about here. There's something around them. They smile when it's required, the way they interact with people. You just want to have them around you. That's the level you get into when gratitude becomes a fabric, an element of who you are in your journey, your state of mind when as you approach your career at different seasons of your life. Number three, it signals leadership of maturity. It shows you're matured. Leaders who express genuine appreciation inspire teams, build loyalty, and create cultures that attract top talents. I mean, there's some places that you want to work because of the way people have been treated. It's a sign that people are grateful for people coming around alongside them to build something great. Every company you join, every team you are part of is on a mission to do something. And what a joy when you have a system that appreciates people that work with them. It's always elevating. It's always, refreshing to be part of a team that is appreciated. And that's what builds loyalty, builds retention in companies, and creates a culture that attract top talent. And lastly, here, number four, gratitude open doors through relationships. People remember how you make them feel. That very popular saying. Gratitude builds goodwill that translates into referrals, introductions, and opportunities. I can't say this more I can't say this enough because this is one of the key elements that proves when people can refer you, people can, endorse you, it shows that you have shown a sense of appreciation or gratitude for where you are, and they can sense that they see the connection and they see where you are and your perspective towards what you are doing, and they are happy to support you because why? You are grateful for where you are. And so these are some of the fundamentals that I want to share with us on gratitude and how it becomes your competitive edge. Your skills, why not? Your competency, why not? But hey, your perspective, your attitude. And that's where gratitude comes in. Somebody said, and I believe, said, attitude is 100%. That means you have the right attitude, no matter plus your skills, it just takes you to a different level in your career trajectory. And so that's why it's a subject that we are discussing as we wrap up this seminar today. So let's bring it home now. Why is this very important? Now, your path to career transformation or building a legacy for your career rests fundamentally in this number 5 factor. Awareness, yes. Mindset, yes. These are critical 2 factors. Preparation, factor 3. Execution, factor 4. But if you want to put it like a color, what I call the icing on the cake, is what we're discussing today, gratitude. So gratitude clarify your lens, see opportunities where others see obstacles. Execution compounds results. Small, consistent actions create exponential, outcomes, meaning that no matter what you know, if you don't put it into action, there will be no result. Preparation highlights value. Your preparation becomes impossible to ignore. Somebody said if you don't plan, to succeed, then you will be planning to fail. So preparation is very key. It highlights the value and what you need to do to make sure that you get to what you're looking forward to. Your mindset keeps you grounded. Resilience sustains you through every transition. Your mindset is very critical to where you're going in life. And of course, awareness, which factor 1, keeps you aligned. You are aware of your environment, you are aware of your industry, and then you begin to map out strategies on how do you then elevate yourself. This is where you have the right question. You're asking yourself the right questions to be aware of your industry, aware of yourself, your skill sets, where you're at. And so if you look at the journey of the 5-factor formula, from awareness to mindset to preparation to execution, and finally today to gratitude, it shows a trajectory, the whole picture of what people should be able to be able to have what I call a career transformation. And that's why we're bringing us our session today. And I'm hoping that for everyone, if you want to get a full perspective of the entire element of the 5-factor formula, go into get the book first, because that gives you the entire perspective. There's a section in the book where we have a lot of questions based on the different factor formulas. I'm hoping that I'll be able to have great time on but I thought I'd follow up to this to keep the momentum going on, getting like a 1-minute session where we're recording some of the different questions people asked as in documented in the book, and then people can follow on our social media platform. So this is the wrap-up session of the 5-Factor Formula. And I want to, of course, sincerely appreciate everyone who has joined, whether they made it session 1, session 2, session 3, all the recordings will be shared with the community where you can go back and watch them. And that's why we'll make sure that we make the recordings available to everybody as are interested, because I believe this is this is something that everyone who wants to do great in their career should experience, should listening to over and over again. I can guarantee you can't remain the same after going through this session, because this is exactly what happened to me, and everything turned when I realized that this 5-factor formula, like David had those 5 stones in his kitty, and it brought down the Goliath, the corporate world that was intimidating him. The same is true for us today. Some of you need 1 stone, some of you need 3 stones or 2 stones, whatever that looks like for you. It's not a one-size-fits-all. Everybody has to decide and find out which one they are missing and apply it. And there are follow-up questions to get into the book. The book is very much detailed. What we did at the webinar series here is just to align the fundamentals of it so people can follow, and then that will inspire them to go get the book. So thank you all for joining, and I strongly recommend that this is not only for yourself, for anyone that you see who is struggling in their career, the businesses, and of course, keep following the social media handles where we're sharing tips on some of the things that would be able to allow you to apply this 5-factor formula on the long run, because the career is a phase. On LinkedIn, let's get connected, or on the social media handles that will be shared with us on the community, because I believe it's a journey and we're building the community to open up our next chapter with clarity, confidence, and of course, gratitude. So that's it on this webinar series today. And I trust that this will go a long way in helping folks transform their career. I'm looking forward to seeing you at the pinnacle of your career. And that's my heartfelt desire, and I trust that that will be our experience. And so for everyone, thank you all for joining from where you are, whatever the world you are. Look forward to your success, and looking forward to a great time as we go on with our element of this webinar series. If you have any question, I'm happy to take that right now. And thank you all for joining. Okay. Okay, Safunke, I said that you are joined. I have to take the recording when people are slow in joining, okay?
All right.
So I don't have to wait, waiting for folks to join.
All right, sir.
All right, cool. So I think I've stopped the recording. Yeah, I did.